All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the HardBody Chronicle. Apologize for the delay in getting the episodes out, but I've been still busy. I just haven't had a chance to actually sit down, take some notes, and record some stuff. So uh, finally got around to it this weekend. So thanks for bearing with me. Just some updates, I guess. As you probably noticed, I'm growing my hair out just a little bit. It's about a month's worth of growth from just straight up buzz cut. So we'll see. Um, Usually get to the point where I just get tired of it and then just shave it all off again. But you see all my gray hair coming through, but it's all good. So it's whatever. Hairline's okay, I guess. Not bad. Not bad for almost 40. It's not bad. So I'll take it. Um, yeah, as you can see, I also got a nice little headset. Try to up my game a little bit, be a little more professional for this podcast, and hopefully give you guys a better quality product. Check this out on YouTube. So yeah, small investment on my part, but it should work out, I think. And it's cool to have anyways. So uh, no regrets. Um, I was thinking these podcasts do take a good amount of work, especially if it's just me. If I feel like I'm essentially writing a sermon or taking notes for a sermon to talk to you guys, so it's not so incoherent and not such a mess, just me rambling. I try to have some structure to what I'm putting out. So thanks for bearing with me as I figure out a system where I can make it easier on myself and also just provide better quality for you guys to listen to and check out. So business wise, I see a lot of people selling masks with their logos or their name on it. I'm going to see if I can do that as well. I have to kind of rig up a certain kind of platen for the printing process. It shouldn't be too hard, but I got to borrow some woodworking tools and bang that out, and then maybe I can start doing some prototypes. It seems like this whole Corona thing is going to be around for a while. And I think just in general, going forward, masks are probably going to be an accessory that most people wear outside wear out the house. So I'm not really in a rush to do it right now. I figure it's going to be commonplace in the next year or so. So I'll eventually get around to it, just like I'll eventually get around to posting on my website. So we'll see. Which I do have. I just haven't made it public. Let's see. I think for now, going through current events and news and whatnot, the lockdown has been extended until May 31st, so end of the month. Work is still pretty much on limited operations, so only essential staff can go in and see what's going on. So I'll go in every once in a while, maybe once a week on average, to see what's going on. But yeah, we're getting by. Still blessed to have a job, so I'm not really complaining. My team's working and staying pretty busy, so I think we're all pretty justified in getting paychecks, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day. And I'm very pleased with that. So we'll just keep it going. But it is interesting the amount of outrage these lockdowns, create for a lot of the people out there. To me, and I'm not trying to get all SJW on you guys, but it is a perfect example of white privilege. It's just throwing out numbers in terms of years. It's been 339 years of slavery, and then 90 years of segregation, and then all the effects of that institutional racism going on for decades after the fact. And people just say, get over it, right? Like you're just supposed to forget all that bullshit that happened and just all of a sudden it's an even playing field. But we know that's not the case, and it's fucking statistically proven. You can look it up. I'm not going to get into that, but Um, you have a entire demographic of the population that went through that, and now you go a month without a haircut, and you fucking start wilding out. You go protest with your guns out to your state capital. I mean, that's a perfect example of white privilege. Had people of color gone out protested with their registered firearms, it'd be a bloodbath, and that's just the fucking facts. So I'm not really trying to hear it from these enraged people with their ARs and Karens out there mad because they can't go to get a haircut or go shopping like they normally could. It's just completely ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy that people think that their rights are being infringed upon, and it's really not even the case. It's funny that a pandemic has turned into a social justice issue. Like this is a worldwide thing. People are dying, and now it's either you're on one side or the other side, and I think that's fucking hilarious to me. It seems like some people just always want someone to complain about. They always want to be the victim, and this is a perfect example of that, where it's just ridiculous. Um, I mean, like I was saying previously, if any Black Lives Matter protests, if they showed up with their guns, even if they were registered, it'd be a completely different situation. Like the cops would not be waving them by and letting them go through and do their shit. Like it'd be a terrible thing that could happen. We just got this weird gun ownership is also kind of a weird thing because I mean I myself and a lot of people of color are registered firearm owners, and um, but it's a very small it's a very small number compared to the rest of the United States. Most people who are NRA are white, and most registered gun owners are white. I think it says a lot or it would say a lot if every person of color all of a sudden just went out and got their concealed weapons permit. You'd see a completely different approach towards regulation of firearms. And I'm surprised it hasn't happened. I feel like that's a really easy thing to take on. Like if you want to be heard as a person of color and as a gun owner, that'd be the first thing you could do. I mean, it's when people start seeing the numbers and you start increasing, it's like, oh shit, look at all these minorities with guns. I think it'd be an interesting case study to see what would actually happen and how lobbyists would treat uh, gun ownerships, gun rights, and that kind of thing. Because now it is a certain demographic that maybe you weren't expecting to kind of step up and want to be represented. Um, so that's something that I've always wanted to kind of see happen at some point. And I'm surprised. I mean, I don't really keep up with the NRA, but I doubt they're out there trying to get Latinos and blacks and Asians to join their ranks. Maybe they try to have a few key, token minority people join them, but it doesn't seem like it's that big a movement on their part. And to me, that's surprising because I figure if you want guns to stay in the U.S., indefinitely, you want everyone on your side, and it doesn't seem like that's been the case. I could be wrong. Feel free to post up in the comments if you have some data. I tried looking some stuff up, but there isn't too much on the NRA in terms of the demographics. But honestly, the people that are in the NRA, it's a type. I don't need to really explain that right now, but you know what it is if you've ever dealt with them or come across them. So yeah, lockdowns definitely create a lot of interesting scenarios, and I think 10, 20 years from now, it's going to be studied in political science, poli-sci 101 courses in college and whatnot to see how hindsight 2020, but it'll be interesting to study all this going forward, and who does have the power of the president over the governor and whatnot, and who can mandate certain things. And that's already very interesting to me, at least, having that background myself. So um, yeah, let's see what else is going on. Sports. So UFC 248 has never happened, and we're just gonna ignore that and just move on to the next event, which is UFC 249, which is gonna happen on May 9th. I still feel a little strange about the whole thing, just with the lack of sports. I'm very thirsty for some sports, but um, it's still extremely irresponsible, in my opinion, to go forward with a sporting event of this magnitude so early. Uh, whether or not they're going to be responsible about it, I mean, I hope they are. I feel like there's a company that has the money to produce an event safely. It should be the UFC, and if they want to keep doing this, every week or every month, it's in their best interest to make sure no one comes back positive with the COVID-19. So we'll see. Probably won't watch it live, but I'll definitely download it and watch it the next day and see what's going on with the card. From when I was checking, the whole card is pretty solid. You have Ferguson versus Gaethje for the title, or the interim title. Then you have Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz, which is also for the title. That'll be interesting. They're both really good. Ngannou versus Rosenstruck, which will be interesting. Jeremy Stevens versus Qatar. Qatar's been doing well, so I'm curious to see how he comes up against Stevens. Greg Hardy's coming out of retirement. I don't know why. It's not like he was ever that dominant, but whatever. He's willing to fight, so it's all good. Even the prelims look good. The main event for the prelims is Cerrone and Pettis, so that should be pretty exciting. They also got Olenek versus Fabricio Verdun, which should be pretty good. So from top to bottom, the whole thing's pretty solid. If you bought it, you might get your money's worth. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. But at the same time, it's hard to say how responsible this event is. I don't know. I just hope no one comes back, or nothing happens. Really, that's really the best thing you can hope for. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes, and then yeah. So not too much else going on with me. Just watching TV and whatnot. I finally got around to watching this show called Oz, and it's a really old show. It was pretty much the show that put HBO on the map. If you're not familiar with Oz, it's about a prison and all the interesting characters that are there. It's a male prison, so there's a lot of homoerotic action going on, a lot of pretty much a lot of very dangerous people locked up together in one place, scheming on each other the entire time. And it's very violent too, just because a lot of things that we think happen in jail. I guess not that I would know, but judging from the show, a lot of violence, a lot of shanks being used, and some other crazy stuff. But the show itself is pretty interesting. It's a little dated now. If you were to go back and watch it, it's definitely from the late '90s, but it's still well done in my opinion, because it's kind of the precursor to stuff like The Wire. One of those gritty shows that were highly rated from HBO. So this is kind of the first one to really put them on the map, like I was saying. So, but yeah, just watching that show, I like it because it does make you ask questions about yourself. Because some of the people that end up in prison, at least in the show, they, aside from that one thing that happened, they're functioning adults living their lives, and then all of a sudden, it's just a shitty day, and something terrible happens, and then you end up locked up for the rest of your life. And I'm not saying that what the thing that they did was that they should be forgiven in any sense, but it's so interesting how it can all change instantly um, from making a few wrong choices, whether you reacted, a certain way or just emotions got the best of you. Um, Sometimes it's a big price to pay for that kind of thing. So um, probably not the best show to watch during statewide quarantine. But it's something I've been meaning to watch, and what's a little more downtime than I'm used to. It didn't take me very long to watch the whole season and get through with it. And it was definitely worth watching, and I would recommend it if you can kind of get past the whole um, kind of the way it's shot is definitely dated and reminiscent of the 90s. And if you can deal with that and look past it, it's still a pretty good show. Um, so yeah, check it out or download it. I think one of the interesting questions that brought up for me was that a lot of the people that are in there, they they're going through some extremely traumatic event, and I think it's I think it's a common misconception that um, traumatic events change you, but they really don't. What they do is they kind of peel back the layers of you as a person and who you are, and they kind of reveal something else that was there that you may not have brought out had it not been for that traumatic event. Because that person has always been inside of me, and it's just because you're put in a certain situation where that part will come out. It's given a chance to blossom, so to speak, and you actually reveal more of what you really are. And I think stuff like breakups can do that. I've experienced that myself. Tragic events will do that to you, and I think it's one of the big takeaways that I got from that show. Because if you remove yourself from one scenario and then put yourself in a different scenario with all completely different factors, you're not really changing. You're just adjusting a little bit of who you are to fit that situation and survive. And I think that's what happens a lot in through traumatic events or any kind of hardship that you're going through. Prison would be a perfect example of that, I think, and that you're put in this place where you have to survive, right? And you either have it or you don't. Like it's just within you, and there's characters that always get by because they can flip that switch, and then they're quick to react and take advantage of certain scenarios that open up. But then there's those who just get taken advantage of, and then they get exploited, and then just run to the ground until there's nothing left, and that's a very scary thought. But at the same time, that's just how life is sometimes, right? Like it's just not. Sometimes you just get a shitty hand, no matter what, and then you can thrive or you can just crash and burn, and I think that's something that's always, when I was watching the show, I think that's something that was always in the back of my mind as I was watching it. Just kind of always thinking of like, how much dirt would I be willing to do if I had to do it in order to survive? And that's I think sometimes if you're really being honest with yourself and you ask yourself that kind of question, you may not really like the answer that you get back, right? And I think that's where I think the way things are set up now in this capitalist system, you do have to be willing to do some dirt, or wash your hands from it and move on to the next thing without having it bring you down. Because you have to step on some necks sometimes to get ahead, which is a very shitty thing to say, but if you want to get ahead, that's what you got to do. Excuse me. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. This is on the equipment, so I don't know how that's going to come across. We'll see. Yeah, so I think that's kind of that's one of the appeals of these prison shows. That even like I remember, I was always a big fan of that show called Lockdown. I think it was on. I don't know what channel it was on, but just a day in the life of a Latino gang member in prison. It's always fascinating because I always think back to. Like, I feel like I got a good break here in Seattle. My parents chose to move here, but what if they had chosen somewhere, South Central LA, right? Fewer opportunities, definitely more dangerous than any of the hoods that we got around here. And what if I had to grow up in that situation? Like, what would I be the same person, or what would I have done to survive? Right? Like here, I kind of figured it out fairly quickly because I didn't have those distractions. You know, I felt generally safe growing up, and I didn't have to worry about that. And I'm truly blessed because of that. But I always wonder, like, if you took me and take a copy of me and place them in a completely different scenario than what I was in here in Seattle, like in LA, East Coast, New York, somewhere like that. I'm always curious to see how I would have turned out, right? Because I feel like I feel like I've got that grittiness, whether it was naturally within me or I just am able to pick up on it. I'm not sure, but I feel like I have the means to survive if I really needed to. Thankfully, I never had to test it out, but I'm definitely not complaining about how I was raised or where I was raised and grew up. But yeah, I mean, for me, that's something that's always I like to think about, I guess. And it's not that I want to be challenged in that way, but I'm just always curious to see what my limits are. Um, so I feel like that's important to really know yourself and what you're capable of. Being tested is a good way to know those things, right? And I always want to, I always pride myself in being very resilient in any situation and being able to come out on top at the end. I might take some hits here and there, but I got the wherewithal to come out on top and overcome a lot of things. So yeah, so when I'm watching Oz, it definitely makes you think. Maybe not in a healthy way. Yeah, for sure. Because that shows. I mean, it's fucked up. And that's really the only way to put it. Um, it does make me question how much of a sociopath I am. The thing that I always read is psychopaths are born, sociopaths are made. And I feel like in this capitalist system that we got, that's definitely the case. There's, you have to be a certain way to get the rewards that you want, whether it's, from school, sports, work, career-wise, and all that. I feel like it has to be that way. Not saying it has to be that way, but it's just the way it is for the time being. And I kind of like it, to be honest, because I like pushing myself. I like challenging myself. I like having things to strive for. I feel like, that's character building. But at the same time, there's a lot of people out there who never get they never get to that place where they can kind of excel. They're always trying to survive. They never get to that place where they can breathe and say, all right, from here on out, I'm going to do this and do that this way to get ahead. Yeah, not sure where I was going with that, but still, I feel like it's still good to test yourself and always be ready to have goals to work towards. Because, like I said, the cream rises to the top, but I think at some point it'd be nice to have everyone start out at the same level eventually. I don't know, like Star Trek. You get rid of any kind of capitalist or communist. Everything's just taken care of. We just do whatever it is that we want to do, and that's the utopian society that'd be cool, I think. But for now, this is just kind of the way it is, unfortunately. And like I was saying, Oz is kind of makes you think about all the shittiness out there. Like I said, maybe not the smartest thing to watch during a quarantine, but it does make you think. And I took some notes as to some other things that stood out to me, and I'll discuss them later. But I think for now, I think I'm going to call it good for this podcast. Like I said, I do appreciate everybody who's subscribing. I am trying to be more consistent with this stuff. It's just been a little busy with work. Because, like I said, I have to take some notes and be somewhat coherent for you guys. Otherwise, it's just me rambling like an idiot, more so than normal. So I thank everyone who's trying to keep up and subscribe and watching my videos. I think we're good for this week. I just want to say blessings to everyone out there. Stay safe. I'll talk to you guys next time. See you.